Hi, welcome. Tier list time. So, I finished everything there is to see and play in Master Detective Archives Raincoat. So now it's time for me to give my final thoughts, I guess, on every character and every, I guess how well I thought they were written, how much I like their personalities, how I would rank them. Basic S to, hang on, I think an F tier might be of use in this. Let me just make that real quick. All right, so I guess I have my thoughts in my head. I pretty much know what I want to say about every character. So I guess we're just gonna start with Yuma. He was pretty great. I really liked him. I thought he was a great protagonist. I liked his arc about learning to I suppose the thing about Yuma is that his entire arc, I feel like throughout the game, had been learning to not rely as much on other people and finding the truth for himself. But then at the very end, they kind of pull the rug out from under you because it's like he was number one and he was used to working alone, and apparently the final message of the game is like you should accept help from others when needed. So I kind of like how they did that. I liked that they evolved him. I love the twist with number one. I thought it was great. Uh, I just thought Yuma was a very charming character too. Generally, I really liked his presence, I suppose. I thought he was very unique compared to, I guess, the usual protagonist of these games because he was sad. He regretted a lot of what he had to do during the game. He regretted having to, I suppose, kill off the culprits in a lot of cases. I'd put him in an A. I don't think he's quite S tier. Honestly, there's not a lot of characters in this game that I put in S tier. There's at least one that I can think of right now. But you know, aside from that, I really don't think there's a lot of S tiers in this game. I did like it though. So yeah, Yuma goes in A, solid, really good protagonist. I feel like if it a month ago, I probably would have put Yuma in S, but I feel like my recency bias has kind of worn out at this point. So A tier, good old Yuma. Shinigami. How do I feel about Shinigami? It's interesting because I feel like I liked her a lot at the start, like in chapter 0 and chapter 1. I thought she was really funny and charming, and I liked her presence. Then chapter 2 rolled around, and she was absolutely unbearable in that. And chapter 3, she also wasn't that much better, although she had that one moment where she talked about like the promise number 1 made or whatever, which I liked. And then after that, after chapter 4 and 5, she got better again. Like Shinigami was, she kind of went downhill for a bit in the middle of the game, but she got better again. I would probably, I don't know. I feel like she wasn't as consistently good, so I'll put her in B tier. I feel like I really missed her at the end. I did feel really sad when she left, but I feel like that middle portion where the middle part of the game, I just could not bear to be around Shinigami. Which is a shame because she was there the entire time. So yeah, she goes in B just because of that little drop in quality just for a bit. But I still really liked her by the end. Yakou. I touched on this a little bit in my last video on the digital novel. I really liked Yakou, but I don't think he got enough screen time in game. I wish we'd gotten to see more of him just like interacting with the other characters. It also doesn't help that I didn't do really any of his gumshoe gabs aside from like one, I think. But that's not my fault. I mean, I didn't find any of them. So, yeah, I mean, as much as I liked Yakou and I loved his emotional ending, and I really, honestly, I think I'll put him in A, below Yuma, definitely. But just because of the fact that he was a consistently fun character to be around the entire time, he didn't drop like Shinigami did. Uh, but I wish I could have seen more of him, which is why I really appreciated the DLC and the digital novel for giving us a little bit more insight into his character and his backstory, into who he is, I guess. Because I wish we got to see more of that in the actual game. Halara, they are the coolest. I love Halara. Not S tier. Not even, I don't think, above Yaku. I think out of the four other Master Detectives, well, no, actually, no. I was gonna say something else, but I think Halara was definitely on the lesser like scale in terms of character development. Like I liked them. I really did. I thought they were awesome. They didn't really develop much beyond just being cool and wanting money, which again is cool. I mean, they didn't need to because they were awesome anyway. And I love their fight scenes too. The fact that Halara got fight scenes is amazing. Uh, I also just really like their attitude. Just the general like cool detective reminded me a lot of Kyoko from Danganronpa, which I liked. I liked how straightforward they were. But that's pretty much about it. I think honestly, I'll put them in B. I don't think they're quite A tier compared to these characters. Put them above Shinigami still. Desuhiko. What do I say about Desuhiko? I mean, I think I don't know. He was definitely the least. I think he's my least favorite of the other main detectives, but I don't dislike him. He just got a bit annoying sometimes. I would personally put him like below Shinigami, right there in B tier. I don't think he's C. I don't think he's quite. He doesn't. He's not bad. Or I guess C isn't bad. C is just below average, I guess. I like Desuhiko. He was honestly he had some pretty good moments, despite those scenes with him. He had some pretty great moments, especially during the Mystery Labyrinth when he helped solve the case by drawing the map and stuff. That was really cool, and I liked him offering to like take the burden of erasing the culprit's soul from Yuma. I liked him offering up because he didn't want Yuma to have to do that. That was very nice of him. So I thought, yes, Desuhiko had a bit more depth, I think, than he initially seemed to. I do wish it would have been explored a little bit more, though. So I'll put him in B tier. Fubuki. Between her and Desuhiko, I don't know which one got really the most development. I do like Fubuki more, though. I don't think I'm gonna put her like above Halara. I don't know. It's a tough choice. I mean, when it comes Fubuki, I liked how dumb she is. I thought she was really funny. I also just thought she was really sweet in general. She was a really kind person. She, I feel like a lot of she didn't. The problem was that she didn't remember anything that happened in the Mystery Labyrinth, which means I feel like her development during that part of the game, with I guess kind of like helping clear the Mystery Labyrinth, being a little bit more independent. I feel like she didn't keep any of that because she didn't remember any of it. The same thing goes for Desuhiko too, but at least that wasn't really, I don't know. I feel like Desuhiko felt less of a change, so I guess I don't know. Halara also, but Halara didn't really develop much anyway. They were just cool. I'll put Fubuki below Halara, above Shinigami because I didn't. Again, there was no like drop in like my liking of Fubuki compared to Shinigami or even Desuhiko. Vivia, the best character. Man, I mean, I'm sorry, I just loved Vivia. Not only was he extremely entertaining to watch on screen every time, he was really funny. He also had probably the most emotional moments, I think, out of any of the other detectives, aside from like Yakou and Yuma. Again, his final like the battle against Vivia in the labyrinth in chapter 4 was one of the highlights of the entire game for me. It was such an amazing scene. I loved it. I loved Vivia trying to protect Yakou, I suppose, because he really cared about him. And he also, he didn't really want Yuma to find the truth because he knew what it implied. He knew Yakou was going to end up dying. And he remembered the mystery labyrinth. He didn't lose his memories, so he got to keep all that development. Woo! So that's a win for Vivia right there. So yeah, what else can I say? He was just an amazing character. I think he might be the only S tier of this list, judging by all these other characters. Maybe there's one who I would consider putting in S tier as well. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, Vivia's great. Kurumi. I mean, I liked her, but I also kind of wish the game had done more with her. I'm very glad that they're setting up a sequel because it seems like she's going to be like an important character. Not that she wasn't important here, but it felt like I don't know, it felt like Kurumi's only purpose in this game was to be like the character was to set up the homunculus twist at the end with like, revealing that, oh, she was actually homunculus the whole time. Everyone was actually homunculus the whole time. I feel like that's kind of the only reason Kurumi was there, aside from obviously being, a fun character in her own right. I did enjoy her personality. She was very sweet. I did like her, and I don't really feel good putting her in C tier because I don't think she deserves quite C tier, but I am putting her like B tier below Desuhiko because I wish they had done more with her. And I hope they do more with her in the sequel because that's coming eventually, and she seems like she's going to be either the protagonist or like a really important character in that. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how that turns out. But for now, she's sitting here in B tier. Now, this is the other contender for S tier, maybe. Makoto, he was a great like antagonist, and the dude, that reveal with Yuma, where he was actually a clone of Yuma, or I guess number one in this case, that my brain like completely shut down in that moment, and I liked him. He ended up being pretty sympathetic in the end, even though he was wrong, and the fact that he actually redeemed himself, that's cool. I liked that. Um, I think I think if there's anyone who's going to be an S tier along with Vivia, it's going to be him. I don't I don't think he's going to be above Vivia at all. But I think he deserves it as the main, I guess, villain, I suppose, of this game, even though the next character is kind of more of a villainous character. But he was the main antagonist. He was the one behind everything. And yeah, I just really liked it. I thought he was really cool. I also just thought he was funny. He had some really funny moments through the game too. He's entertaining character all around. Yomi, goddamn hell smile. Oh boy, oh boy. See, part of me wants to put this guy in F tier because I hate him. Another part of me wants to put him in A tier because he is a damn good villain. He is like he is such an unapologetic monster. It makes he's the type of villain that you love to hate. And I think I really like that in villains. It's something that I think I like that this game had both. It had the sympathetic villain who redeemed himself at the end, and the absolute monster who you want to see just killed. And he didn't die, and he's setting. I have a feeling he's going to be in the sequel, but we'll talk more about that at some point in a later video. So yeah, no, Yomi was great. I loved him. He was. I mean, I hated him, but I love to hate him. I'm glad I hated him because you're supposed to. And he was really threatening. I'll say those earlier scenes with him in like chapter 2 and such, whenever he showed up, he was terrifying. I don't know, something about his aura, it just felt intimidating, and that was great. Martina, oh, okay, let's talk about all the Peacekeepers actually right now, because I do have some stuff to say about them as a group. Out of all of them, I think Martina is probably the best one. She's probably the most deserving of B tier up here with, I don't know, should I put her above? I don't know if I'd put her above Kurumi. I mean, Kurumi had more of a presence. She was there more. I'll put Martina in B because I like her. She was awesome. But she did not show up a lot. I mean, she showed up in chapter 2, then she basically, died. But then she didn't die. She showed up at the end and she was like, "Oh, I'm alive." And then she like, she ended up apprehending Yomi, which was a great scene, but that was it for her character. The fact that she even did that, I mean, I'm only putting her in B tier because that scene with her is more than any of the other Peacekeepers got. One of my major problems with this game is, I don't know, I feel like the Peacekeepers just weren't handled very well. So, Swank, he's the closest to F tier I think we're ever gonna get in this list. Is he F tier? I don't know. I think, you know what? Yeah, screw it. Sure, he's F tier. She was the antagonist for chapter 0, and that's it. And I'm assuming he died afterwards because that's what happened to all the other ones. Well, at least that's what happened to Seth, and that's what was supposed to happen to Martina. Actually, theory time. If Makoto stopped Martina's execution, you think he also saved the other Peacekeepers? You think the other Peacekeepers also turned against Yomi? Because if so, then wouldn't it have been awesome if they appeared in that scene along with Martina? I think that would have been cool, but that didn't happen, so I'm stuck here putting them in low tiers because they didn't get any of that cool resolution. Seth, I liked him. He was entertaining, but he's also not. I don't know. He's going in D tier. I'm sorry. I can't. As much as I like Seth, I can't put him above D tier because he didn't do anything aside from yell at a megaphone and then die. So yeah, I mean, he was a fine antagonist for chapter one, and that's pretty much what all the peacekeepers were. They were just mini bosses before we got to Yomi at the end. But you know, Seth, as much I again, I wish these peacekeepers had gotten better characterization. I wish they'd gotten more development. I wish we'd gotten to see more of them. That's really all I wanted. Now for the two most underused characters in this entire game. It is criminal how much wasted potential I'm seeing here in front of me with these two characters. Guillaume and Dominic. Oh my god. I'm still putting them above Seth because I liked them more. They were more entertaining. Guillaume was like my favorite of the Peacekeepers because she was just really funny. She was really energetic. I loved her Harley Quinn energy. And then she got what? 5 minutes of screen time? Same thing goes for Dominic too. They got like 5 minutes of screen time, and then they never appeared again. Presumably killed by Yomi, but we didn't even get to see that. At least with Seth, we got to see him, like, we got to see Yomi say, oh, I'm gonna kill you, and he presumably died off screen. Martina, she came back at the end. Swank, he was even worse off than that, that's why he's in F tier. But, like, we never even got. Again, I remember, like, they had, like, 3 scenes in the entire game. And I hate it. I hate how poorly these characters were treated because they had so much more potential. But oh well, I guess that's just what we're stuck with. I hope they come back in the sequel. I hope that Martina wasn't the only one who survived her execution and that all of these guys can come back in the sequel and be better characters, maybe, hopefully. That's all I have to say on that. Alright, now for this bunch. I mean, I'll put them in C tier just by the sheer balls of Kodaka to even like a to even do this. Just to introduce an entire cast of characters in the trailers and have them all be killed off in the prologue. Like that was an amazing twist. I'll put Zilch at the top because he actually was more important. He gave us information. His zombie. We got to see his zombie mode at the end because it wasn't actually Zilch. We never got to meet the real Zilch. It was just a hitman disguised. But yeah, I'll put Poochie here because she was cute. I'll put Zange above Melanie because he was cool. Melanie here and Aphex, he was kind of annoying. Alright, that's cool. That's it. That's their rankings. Number one, or not number one, I guess. Fake number one. Uh, I mean, again, he suffers from the same issue that a lot of these guys below B tier do, with that he wasn't really there for anything. He I mean, he showed up on screen. He was really just a plot device to set up the twist with Yuma, which was a great twist. But also, okay, he served more of a purpose than these guys did. So I'm just gonna put him in D tier right there above them because he at least had more of a reason to exist than these four. All right. Oh boy, literally. Who can forget the greatest characters in all of fiction? Boy, priest, nun, servant, and worshiper. These guys didn't even get the luxury of having names. At least the boy was kind of cute, I guess. And the priest, I had his little like psychopath moment, which I enjoyed. I can't even put them above Seth. I'll put the priest here. All right, cool. I'll put these guys at the bottom. Below Swank. Sure, below Swank. Let's do that. Let's put them below Swank. And the worshiper, I want to put him next to the priest. Sure. All right, let's do that. Okay, now for better characters. Yoshiko, Waruna, Kurane, and Karen, or Karen is her actual name, but I just like calling her Karen because it's funny. So, I mean, these were much better executed characters than the church bunch. So I'll definitely put them higher up. Honestly, I'd put them above even these guys. I'll go like high C tier for all of these. Well, maybe not Karen because she wasn't there much. She died. She was the victim, in fact. So I'll put probably her. I don't know. Mm, I'm not sure. I really don't know where to put Karen because she wasn't as good as the other three, obviously. So do I put her like down here above number one, above fake number one. Sure, let's do that. Anyway, yeah, these three were great. They were definitely my favorite of the not heavily story related cases. And by that I mean like in terms of Chapter 2 was definitely my favorite of the early chapters of the first half of the game. Chapter 2 was the best. And I loved them. I thought they were great. Their emotional moments at the end with their ghosts and Yaiko and everything. That almost made me cry genuinely. That was a really sad scene. I can't put them in B tier obviously because they weren't they were one-off characters for one chapter, but they were really good one-off characters for one chapter. So I'll put them right at the top of C. They're very good. Now for the Chapter 3 bunch, the Resistance. I feel like they have a similar problem going with the church characters, except they're a lot better than the church characters at least. Well, except for you. Honestly, Icardi, you suck. Icardi sucks. He was terrible. I mean, he got barely no screen time, and then he was revealed as the culprit, and it felt like, I don't know, I didn't care. So honestly, he's going probably below Swank. Yeah, he's going above these two. He was more memorable than these two, but he's going below Swank. So that's where Icardi is. He sucks. Anyway, the other ones are a little bit better. Shachi, I like that we actually got to meet Shachi before he died. That's something that we never got to see for any of the other victims, except for Yakou. Well, except I mean Yakou was a culprit. Except for we get with Dr. Huesca here, but like we actually got to properly interact with Shachi before he died, which is something that I feel we didn't get with anyone else. So I did like that. His death didn't make me as sad as these three, so I'm just gonna put him right above Zilch here. Servan was funny. I could barely take him seriously because I just heard Kokichi every time he spoke because it's the exact same voice actor doing the exact same voice. But he was fine. I don't think he's as good as Shachi. Um, you know what? Screw it. I'll just put them all here in order of least of which one I like the most. Margula, he was fine, I guess. He helped us out in chapter 3. He helped us solve the case, so he was cool. And he ran a shop. He's a cool old guy. Iruka was funny. That's really all she had going for her. She was funny. I'll put her above Servan just because of that. She was funny. And now, finally, at the very end, we have Dr. Huesca. I mean, I liked his whole thing with Yakou. I liked that Yakou's entire plan revolved around killing him and avenging his wife. We didn't get to see much of Dr. Huesca outside the lab, which obviously makes sense. But I can't really put Huesca above like someone like Aphex or anything because we got to meet Aphex and talk to him more than we did with Huesca. So I will say I'll put Huesca here because he had a very big plot relevant purpose to exist. And he was definitely more memorable than the ones below him. As much as it pains me to put Guillaume and Dominic this low, I have to put Huesca above them. So yeah, I think I'll put Huesca in C tier, right there at the bottom of C tier. I didn't like him much as a character, but he had to exist for the plot to move forward, and his existence allowed for a great arc for Yakou. So you know what? That's fine. So that's it. This video turned out a lot shorter than my last tier list, which makes sense because I feel like there's less characters to talk to and talk about, and the characters themselves weren't nearly as fleshed out as the Fire Emblem Path of Radiance ones. But well, at least most of them, obviously. The ones really the only fleshed out character, the only character that I can say were really good and fleshed out were the ones that are B tier above. Oh, whoa, whoa! You can actually do this. Oh, look at that. That's cool. Weird glitch. Uh, oh, what the hell? Did I just copy? I just copied the images into the tier list thing. I didn't know you could do that. Oh, that's weird. What the heck? That's weird. How do we do that again? What the heck? How do we... Okay, well, that's never happening again. Good thing I caught that on video, because that's never to be repeated. Well, that's my tier list. So, if you guys have any thoughts on my rankings, if you guys disagree with me on anything, if you think I'm wrong and an idiot and stupid, then please tell me in the comments. Because I would love to discuss this game with people. I really enjoyed it. I cannot wait for the inevitable sequel that will happen eventually at some point, in probably 2 or 3 years, I'd say. So, next time, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to make a video on what I think a sequel could look like because I have some ideas and theories. So, until then, thank you for watching. See ya. Bye bye.